Never, but yeah.
Usually I'll give it like a 10-second, do my intro. I'll introduce everybody and then we'll get started. All right. Hey, how you guys doing out there? James Humphrey with another episode of Real Talk with Real Men. I got my co-host with me, Kyle Stanley.
Yo.
And I got my guest star over here, Corey Finley from Kingdom Studios. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely.
In today's episode, we are talking about marriage. The marriage life.
Yes,
Jump in
sir.
the broom. What else you call it? Tying the knot.
Getting hitched.
All that fun stuff. How long you been married, Kyle?
Going on 6 years.
6 years. I think that's
Nice.
about as long as mine lasted.
Okay.
Was about that long. Corey, how long you going, boy?
We just passed 13.
13
Good.
years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's be real about it.
Yeah.
What do us men have to do to keep it going? Give me some advice. I need to know.
To keep it going?
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Go ahead first.
Oh man, put the new guy on this.
Right.
You know, for me, just having good communication, that's probably a really good start.
Yeah.
You know,
agree.
so like, there's times where like something can happen, you feel a certain way, and you're like, nah, and you kind of bury it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to rock the boat.
Right.
But if you do that, it's kind of like when ice gets in the crack of a rock and
It
it
builds up.
spreads it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't break it off.
Yeah.
But after like 3 years, then it breaks it off. You know.
Mhm.
So
Get
just,
to the fed up point.
yeah, kind of just so. Even if it's small, just like let's have a good back and forth communication. I want you
Yeah.
to tell me stuff. You know.
Right.
So I want to be able to tell you things, and so if we can talk about it, I guess for me that's kind of like the first line of offense to protect our marriage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say trust for me probably
Mm.
was the downfall of it.
Okay.
You know, because our communication was for the most part pretty good. I want to say there was more or less trust issues in between each other, and not so much as trust issue when it comes to like infidelity,
Yeah.
but it was more like trust issues as in can you take care of this, or do I need to take care of it? And if you can't take care of it,
Okay.
let me know so I can take care of it.
Okay.
And then it goes the other way around, more or less. I didn't trust her enough to take care of things, so I had to take care of it. But then maybe I could have. Maybe it was more of a
So did you feel responsibility was uneven? Would you say?
not. I wouldn't even so much to say responsibility
Or
was even. It was more accountability, yes, but more or less of I didn't trust her enough to take care of something, even though I didn't really talk to her about it and have that communication about it.
Uh-huh.
But then if I did trust her to take care of something, it would have gone so much easier.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I know it's weird. It's weird like that, but
All right.
Yeah.
it's most definitely trust for me. You know, I need to be able to be open, trustworthy, enough to say, hey, I can trust you to do this without me having to watch your back about it or have be on your ass about it or something like
That's
that.
kind of funny because my wife and I are probably the opposite of that. I'm probably the least trustworthy. She's on it. She's her mind is clear and crisp, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
the spaz in the family. You know, I'm the emotional one. She's the rock, and so there's things like I'm the spender, she's the saver. You know, just something
Okay.
simple like that. And so she's like, hey, I can't. And so I've had to rebuild trust because I broke it so many times.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and so there were certain things. So whatever you said. Things I've heard that.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the other side of it.
And it could be like little shit.
Yeah.
It could be hey, can I trust you to take the trash out? And then I get home, it's like trash ain't taken out. It's like,
Yeah.
did I tell her to take the trash out, or did I just not trust her or know or have enough communication to tell her to take the trash out?
Yeah.
But here I am. Either way, I'm taking the trash out. So I'll have to take care of it. You know what I mean?
So then later you probably just don't even ask anymore.
Yeah. It gets to that point. So like, okay, I guess she's not going to do it, so I have to do it. You know what I mean?
And then that creates bitterness.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So much bitterness is
Not
bad.
to harbor that bitterness, man. Because there's so many little things that will annoy and aggravate you that you can't just hold on to all of that stuff.
Yeah.
When you're trying to make it work and go for the longevity, it's not conducive.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of letting go.
Yes.
Because if you hold on to stuff, especially the little stuff, it also builds up into big stuff.
The letting go is in tandem with the growing.
Because I feel like after the aftermath of my marriage,
Yeah.
you know, going into the divorce and everything, it's like there's a lot of shit like I really did not give a shit about, but I did at that point in time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like now that they were separated, it's all over and done with. Whatever. It's like okay, there was a lot of shit I could have let go, and I didn't. And I don't know why the hell I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Discovering yourself, man. When did you get married?
Oh, so I got
What
married
age?
at 26.
Okay.
26.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you were solid with yourself and
Hell no.
knowing what you see?
Hell no. Here's the
That's a big
situation.
thing, bro.
Here's the situation. Because we started out, you know, being friends, you know, and then she got knocked up. And then we got married 3 months after that. And then we
She
only
got
been
knocked up. You knocked her up.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
Right.
so
magic.
but you know, we already had a baby on the way, married
Yeah.
before we even had a year in our relationship.
It's a lot.
Okay, yeah, that's
That's-
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's like really quick.
That's like, let's make it work right instead of it's
Yeah.
naturally working
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah, yeah.
So I understand those pressures.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's
What
one of
about
those.
you? What's your advice? And keep it going.
To keep it going, I will echo the communication and also being intuitive.
Oh.
Paying attention to your wife. The things that she doesn't say is equally as the things that she does. What does she harp on? What does she daydream about?
Mm-hmm.
Stay in tune with those small things that she likes. You know, remind her that despite
Yeah.
all the things that you have going on, she's special, that you thought of her. Because that goes so far with women. My wife always just wants a night out or a
Yeah.
date or some flowers or something like that. Even I'm busy with the baby, the work, a lot of overtime. I'm a guy that works a lot of overtime, or I have 2 jobs, or I'm just doing things with helping grandmother, helping
Yeah.
the in-laws and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm always in and out of the house.
Yeah.
Letting her know that I still thought of her, smile every time. Makes it good every time. She's never complaining. She's never naggy about what hasn't happened or what I've been away from the house or the time spent. As long as I give her those reminders. As long as I
Yeah.
make her a priority to be, hey, I still remember I have a duty to you to be the entertaining husband that you fell in love with. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Don't try and change that, or don't try not to let that change, I'll say.
I would most definitely second that one because that's
Yeah.
probably another thing that I overlooked.
Yeah.
You know?
It's easy to get comfortable or
It is.
get into a routine of where you're bogged down and
Yeah.
you really don't have the time to go out this week.
Yeah.
Or you don't have the time to just lounge, you two alone.
Yeah.
You got the kids, you got family things going on. She has to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like just reconnecting like that and letting her know, hey, I'm still on your team. And if you need anything, let me know. If it's a Starbucks, her favorite, whatever it is.
Yeah.
For us, it's Haagen-Dazs raspberry, white chocolate raspberry ice cream.
Nice.
If I can pick that up, bro, I
There you
just got
go.
a sweet week for the rest of the
There
day.
you go.
Remember those little things, man,
Yeah.
because that's what makes it cozy, makes it homey at home.
I will say spending time is probably as equal as communication
Yeah.
because you know when I got married and had a baby, you know it was family setting the whole entire time. You know there wasn't really time that me and her actually like spent time alone or even like a
Yes.
long period of time
An
alone. We
adult
went
setting.
we went right straight to the whole family setting.
I hear you.
It's not that we didn't have date nights or things like that. Like we
Yeah.
did stuff together, but
Yeah.
it was always okay. What we doing with the kids, with all this other
Yeah.
stuff. We didn't have that opportunity to have that outside of the kids. You know what I mean? So most definitely spending time as much time as possible.
Yeah.
You know, with your lady friend contributes with that whole keeping it longevity. I'm sure you have plenty enough time, you know, alone, even though you have kids and everything else. With
It
them.
gets challenging, man. I tell you what, you know, running a business, having kids.
Yeah.
My wife's going back to school to become a doctor.
There
so
you go.
That takes up a lot of time.
Yes.
Something both of you said kind of reminded me of what one of my mentors said a long time ago is always keep dating her.
Oh,
Yes.
You know, as if you're not married, because when you're dating, right, you're like, I want to spend time with her, I want to pursue her, I want to show her those
Trying to
affections.
impress, trying to woo.
Yeah, you know, and we don't just stop that.
No.
You know, like we've got to keep doing that. You know,
Yes.
it's a forever thing. You know,
Yes.
gotta forever date. And so, you know, we used to do a date every week, and then around kid 2, it was like once a month because we were just tired, right? You know, you don't sleep,
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. You know, I had just started my business back then. You know, and so then we're like, all right, let's try to do it twice a month. Let's get back into this slowly. You know, and so then for a season, it was every week again. It was so good. Now we're probably back to like every other week. You know, something kind of like that. You know, and summer's kind of rocky because there's a trip this and there's family vacation that. So but yeah, always dating. That's because it's that quality time.
Oh
You get to talk. You get to have some fun.
Here's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I had one of the major issues in my downfall of my marriage was the support system when it comes to wanting to pursue your dreams and aspirations and things of that nature.
Okay.
And using myself as an example, you know, at first it was just, hey, we're working, we're paying bills, we're doing this, and we were actually really happy at that point in time. And then something got in my head to where it's like, okay, I want to be extremely successful. I want to do this, and this. And I more or less explained this to her, and the support just wasn't really there. You know what I mean? So it's like, you say you were starting your business, and then your wife's starting to be a doctor, which is obviously something very huge, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, how is the support system in something where you and your partner are trying to do something separate, but it's supposed to benefit you both in the future?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How does that work?
Yeah.
Filling in where you can, man. Whatever that looks like for your situation. Helping someone study, helping someone. I'll watch the kids. I'll get them out of the house while you can have some silence or some peace.
That was me.
Yeah.
I took off probably an extra hour and a half early through the whole last 2 semesters so that I could come home so she could leave to go study.
Exactly.
So, you know, I had to really change my schedule.
Yeah. I'll cook the dinner. I'll grab dinner. I'll put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
You got to tap in wherever you can, and vice versa.
Yep.
There's so much stuff that, like I say, I'll be in and out, but if I didn't have my wife, it just wouldn't get done. You know, she's crossing the T's, she's dotting the I's, she's making the appointments. She sends me the updates, I get it put on my calendar and things like that. But if I didn't have her, I'd be blind sometimes. So it's just like support. She's tapping in for me, and I'm, like I say, always being mindful of her. How long has it been since, we went and got ice cream and went to the park? You know, we love going to the local parks and going to see water. So anywhere we can go see the stream or see a river, we're going to go see that for a while. You know, a couple hours, maybe 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. Early in the day, late at night, just make time for it.
Yeah, and I think of support, I think of like a support network, you know, and it's not just us, just her and me. You know, we got some really good friends in our church that we can lean on in some of those times. You know, there's times where she just needs to hang out with some girls, you know. And so I have to sacrifice my needs, my wants, you know, to be able to spend time with her so that she can get what she needs and refill that way. So just kind of being flexible, I guess, you know, and then also being humble enough to like need other people.
Yes.
You know, there's been times where starting a business, we didn't have enough money, you know, we're like, hey, we need a little help, you know, and you know, when you're pregnant and, you know, everybody's bringing you food and stuff, like that's so nice. Like just allowing people to also pour into you, that's a good support network.
It is beautiful, and when you see it coming, you don't expect it sometimes, and you get so deep in the it's all on me type thing, you don't see these people coming to help you. Or we get so prideful as men, oftentimes we don't ask for help, and that's one thing I had to get over. And so many people came out of nowhere and just blessed me in so many ways that it's just like I couldn't replace the things given. You know, it's just I appreciate it, and it was right on time. You know, so always trying to return a favor in those ways. And be a rock, a consult for my friends, different relationships as well. Definitely that support system of my wife. Recently, she has a friend out in Lawrence. She has to go visit and things like that. They talk business together. Get refreshed, get new energy, and things that I can't give her from that female perspective. So I'm just like, yes, I encourage that. Go spend that time. Go take that trip.
Here's a real question: sacrifice, because you mentioned sacrifices. And I was thinking of the things that actually get sacrificed that people don't talk about when it comes to marriage. And I think that's like another thing that I kind of overlook, because I sacrifice so much for my business, but I think if I did as much sacrificing for my business compared to my marriage, maybe it'll still be together, you know? Because like, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I kind of don't think or care what you think about it, you know what I mean? So it's like, as real men, what are we, you know, actually sacrificing for our marriages? I know that's a hard question. That's like a really
things you're,
because you think you're sacrificing your friendship with your boys, you know.
A lot of things you're transition. I think about it as transitioning into a family man. I view it as being nomadic. When you're a single man, you're kind of independent out there floating, doing whatever you please. Once you transition into that family man mindset, if you choose to be, because some guys have kids and don't choose to be there, or wives and don't choose to be a good husband, but if you choose to be a participant in the family lifestyle, it's like, okay, I got to sacrifice the time with the boys that I would normally just do nothing, hang around, drink a few beers and talk sports. I'm going to sacrifice those times so I can be with the family. I'm going to sacrifice, well, shoot, I might be a workaholic and I like to make a lot of money. I'm going to have to sacrifice a few of those times so I can make it to the trip, to practice, be there to support, or give my wife a break, whatever it may be. You're going to have to sacrifice those things. I like motorcycles. I like cars and, you know, your hobby stuff, your interest. I like guns. I can't buy a new gun as much as I would like to. And then sacrifice some of your interests in the interest of what's going to protect my family, what is good for the household. You know, I always protect the castle sort of mindset. Even though I want to indulge in this, maybe I have the resources and funds for it, but I just don't want to put that strain on. I don't want to do that. I'll feel guilty about that if I did that. You know, sacrificing things that you just want to be sort of selfish in a way of. And then sacrificing the ways and bad habits. Like, I got to sacrifice the bad food that I want to eat because I'm trying to be healthier for my family. I'm trying to be active for my son. So sacrificing my bad habits in a way. Trying to be better in those ways.
Do you feel like you're a different person now that you're married? Because I see it, you know, as a positive for me. You know, I see it as like a personal development thing for me, because it's like I'm totally different than I am now compared to I was actually in the marriage. Because then it's like in the marriage, it's like I wasn't really thinking as a married man, but now that I'm looking for a more committed relationship, my whole mindset of it all, you know, completely changed. So it's like, do you guys feel like you're the same person now that you're married compared to where you were before? Or I see you thinking, Corey.
Maybe like my DNA is the same, you know what I'm saying? But I was a boy. Like I was 22 years old. Like I mean, there was so much immaturity. I look at my pictures. I still look like a baby, but I look like a baby then, you know? I still can't grow a fine beard like you. This is it, you know? All my little Irish hairs popping out. So it's like, but it's like, I'm not the same because I've matured so much, but a lot of that's like the experience, right? But there's still times where I'm still me, just with more experience, lessons learned, forgiveness, you know, like challenges, like all that kind of growth, you know. So like, no, I'm not the same person at all, but I still am the same person. I don't know, does that make sense?
That does make sense. It does make sense.
I say the biggest change is patience. I used to be such an impatient person, and when you tap into the family lifestyle, you see that people aren't going to get or do things at the pace that you expect them to do. I can't teach my son everything I want him to know right now. He's not going to grasp it right now.
We try though, don't we?
But dude, I want him to be driving with me. You know, I want him to be riding the motorcycle right next to me. But he's got to take his pace. And
how old's your son?
He's 3.5.
Oh man.
Yes, he's at a fun time now.
Going on 20, right?
Oh yeah, he's a very bossy young man. But he's a joy, man. And same with my wife. You know, sacrificing your pride in a way of always being right. Mm-hmm. You gotta admit when you're wrong and verbally admit that. Mm-hmm. That is very important, James. Yeah, I see your eyes. Admitting when you're right, man, goes such a long way.
I'm gonna blame it on that.
Admitting when you're wrong goes a long way in extending the olive branch of, hey, I'm human. Mm-hmm. I'm fallible. I make mistakes just as well as you will, and if you don't hold it against me, I'm just trying to do what's good for us. I won't hold anything against you because I know that you're behaving in a way that's trying to do what's best in our best interest. Yeah. So if you have that belief and that common understanding of, hey, everything I do is out of love and to better us, I may have made a mistake, but it was nothing malicious. It was nothing intentful. And hopefully you're not doing anything malicious and intentful that you're lying about. Yeah, you have to admit when you're wrong. You have to apologize. I grew up in a household where there was not too many apologies or I'm sorries. It's just, if you don't like that, then that's tough. You keep on walking,
Mm-hmm. I would add to that, too, asking for forgiveness.
Yes.
Because there's that humility aspect of me I'm sorry, but will you forgive me?
Yes.
Then all of a sudden it's this two-way street. And I'm not saying like you're trying to like manipulate your partner to reciprocate.
No.
But there's a humility there, like will you forgive me? And will you help me kind of reset? I want to reset. Can we kind of start fresh?
Right.
And man, it's just so good for the soul.
Yes, I would echo that as much because that's such a humble thing, to admit wrong or a fault, and to be vulnerable in that position, and then saying forgiveness is like, will you still participate? Mm-hmm. Will you still look at this fault and still participate with me, knowing what you know? Like that's the most naked you can be with a person. That's the most intimate you can be with a person because we all want to be the facade we put out. Mm-hmm. The nice guy, the guy that's doing it all right and has it all in order. But when you live with someone, you can't hide too much. Mm-mm. So they know when you messed up and you screwed up and you did this and you know better than that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what do you say to that woman? I'm sorry, I fucked up, and hey, can you forgive me?
Yeah.
Dude, and she chooses to participate, man, that should bring you even more tighter and over again, because it's going to happen so many times throughout your relationship. So keep sowing that love.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're mad, something she did, and she's like, will you forgive me?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, crap, I do, but
I was in the doghouse last month, so I do owe her one.
But sometimes it's hard though.
Yeah.
It's hard to be the forgiver.
Yes.
Sometimes, because it's like, I feel like I want the scales to be balanced again. Mm-hmm. Something was wronged, and I'm off balance. Mm-hmm. I want you to make it up to me.
Right.
And by me saying I forgive you, I'm saying you don't owe me.
You're kind of off the hook. Yeah.
I heard it was an old like accounting term from like back in like Rome and stuff, like to forgive. You forgave someone's debt. You say you don't, like the books, it's scratched out. You don't owe me anything anymore. It's zeroed out. Yeah. So like if it's a debt, you owe me 16 donkeys or whatever.
Never get that 16 fulfilled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you're like, hey, I forgive the debt. You don't owe me anything anymore. And so that forgiveness thing, it's like they say forgive and forget, right? Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily forget because it's like I don't want to be wounded again. I want to be wise to what's going on.
Yes.
But also it's like I'm not going to hold it against you. Remember that one time you did such and such?
Yeah.
Like, well, that wasn't forgiveness then,
And it hurts you just as much to harbor those ill feelings.
Absolutely.
Harboring ill feelings, man, makes your gut boil, literally.
Yeah.
It increases your digestive acids, so don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Are we missing anything, or do you think we?
I'm sure we missed some things, but that's all we can give.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marriage is fun though. I am not. I'm a much better person because of my wife.
I'll agree.
And it's not just that she has helped me see and learn so much. It's just that we can do so much more together than I could do by myself, and she could do by herself.
Yes.
Like we can accomplish a lot. And I'd say one thing I thought of was the sacrifice thing is quick decisions.
Yeah,
I can make a decision fast on my own, But now I've got to talk about it. We got to figure it out. We got to plan it. Like there's this
Debate
committee, but I'm better for it, you know. So it's like it's a sacrifice.
Yes.
And there's sometimes I'm like, let's just go.
Yes, I agree with you.
And there's times where she wants to do something, and I'm like, well, what about this? No, we can't throw that away because we need. And she's like, ah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've most definitely been there with the whole having to talk about it because I'm so used to making my own decisions and doing this and doing that, and then I'm not to say that anybody's slow, but I'm always super fast and strategic with my decisions, where I'm ready to make the decision now, and we're going backtracking like, hey, we got to think about this, this, and this. I'm like, well, I already thought about that.
Yeah,
we already made the decision. We're good. Like, well, but you're not thinking about this, this, this. I was like, I already thought about that. We're good. I already made the decision.
Kind of like, don't talk me out of my shirt.
It's like, hey, let's buy this TV. It's
I'm
like, well,
sure.
do
Don't
TV?
try and talk me out of it.
I will. So my brain is just like the first thought that I have. That's the last thought I'm gonna have. Like I'm not a deep thinker. Like it's just innate. It's probably why I'm a business person. It's just I'm good at those quick things. I'm not good at like slow, long, think through everything, which is why I make a lot of mistakes. Because I jump off the cliff and go, oh, I'll parachute. Whoops. Let me see if I can make it with my pants. You know. And so I will say, my wife though has been a huge anchor of wisdom and insight.
Yes.
A separate perspective that's completely opposite of mine, which annoys us both. You know, but it's like, even though I want to make a quick decision, having her go, hey, what about this? Have you thought about that? I'm like, don't slow me. I'm like, oh, that was a good idea, actually, yeah. You know, so that's been a big blessing. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. Well, fellas, I think we'll go ahead and cut it off there. I think we've been talking. How long have we been talking? 30 minutes? Something like that? 25 minutes?
24.
24?
That's what she said.
I don't know. Nobody's got me.
That's what we are.
I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode there. Got my co-host with me, Kyle Stanley. Got my guest here with Corey Finley, me, James Humphrey. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a good night.
Cheers.
Hey, that was pretty easy.
Man.
That's fun. Thanks for letting
Great
me.
talk. That was great.
That was fun. Yeah.
Did you want to talk about Kingdom Studios?
Whatever you want, man.
My man over here owns a
guest.
Photography business. What do you do?
I do a couple things. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a professional photographer full time.
How long you been doing that?
Okay, so I started 7 Images is the company.
Right.
7 Images KC. In May of 2015. So we just passed 8 years.
Oh, wow.
It's the longest thing I've ever done. Like I'm the guy that jumps off, every 2 years, right?
Dude, we actually just talked about that jobs the other day. Is like how I've never had a job longer than 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Like after 2.5 years, you're ready to do something else.
Oh, let's start something new.
An idea something totally different.
Yeah. So, long story short, I needed space to do headshots, because I've always been a photographer in the commercial space, so business to business. And so, working with realtors, taking listing photos, doing architectural photos, doing magazine shots, headshots really started to explode during COVID. Everybody needed a new Zoom profile, and so that was really good, but I didn't have the studio space, and I didn't want people to come into my house. People mostly don't want us coming into their house because it's COVID, and so here they've got the studio space, but it wasn't really built for photographers. It was built more for business people, that needed a suit and tie kind of thing, and the money wasn't the same. Like it was just different. So I was like, man, what if we started kind of a co-working space for creatives? Built for the content creators, the videographers, the photographers, the models, the branding agents, exactly, people like you. Where are we right now? We're in a space where you can do that, right? Yeah. Right. And so it's funny that we're wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, no.
You walk in,
you guys need to figure out where to go.
Wow. And me late to the party.
Don't look at your shirt, man.
That's right. I like soccer too. That's all good.
All right.
But so co-working space for creatives. So we've got a couple studio spaces. We got a bunch of little kind of editorial kind of lifestyle spots, and so we have about 25 members now that are monthly, and then we've got dozens of one-offs, that kind of keep coming back, and stuff. So it's been fun.
Do you do any work in Westport?
So Kingdom Studio members can go to all the PlexPod locations, and their memberships carry on with them.
Okay.
Me personally, I'll do headshots everywhere. This is kind of my home base, but if I'm ever traveling, it's usually I'm going to their office to shoot their lawyers or whatnot. So kind of on location kind of thing.
What kind of camera do you use?
Me personally, I use a Sony A7R2. It's a
Okay.
Sony mirrorless.
Yeah.
You know, it's great for photos. It's okay for video. It's not the best, but it's great for photos.
I started out with photography cameras that shot videos when I did my videos. I'm like, well, it's good, but it's not standard. You know what I mean? So then I had to upgrade to an actual cinematography camera.
Yep.
You know, and then the funny thing is this takes images, but it's primarily video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's literally like the reverse of your photography cameras. Which is a little weird.
You got Canon here. I cut my teeth on Canon. I was a Canon guy.
Was you?
So now Sony, I've got a couple Canon lenses and a couple Nikon lenses and a couple Sony lenses. So, you know.
Well, I figured I had to pick one.
Yeah.
I couldn't do the whole interchanging one.
Yeah.
So I had to pick one, and so I picked Canon only because I think that at that time the Rebels were like the cheapest cameras that you can get
They were.
on the market that would hold up to all the other cameras.
Yeah.
Because I had like a Canon Rebel T7i.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I downgraded to a T6i only because the difference was like the ISO, which wasn't that big of a difference. So I needed two cameras.
Yep.
And then I ended up selling those two to buy that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that was at.